fifth generation on the same piece of land. My grandfather's grandfather paid just $10 to a government man for this little piece of heaven that I will always call home. And that won't ever change. It runs right through my veins, straight to my soul. Well, you can put me in the city and I'll do just fine, but give me my saddle and a good horse to ride. 'Cause at the end of the day, when the work's all done, I wanna hang my hat knowing where I come from. I've got country in my blood. I got this country in my blood.
And they didn't have too much land, but he said that what land belonged to him, that he was supposed to be his share, wasn't very much, but his mom had sold it and gave him the money to go to Canada with that money. That's what he went with his share of money from there, because there wasn't too much money there. Everything was scarce, and jobs were, they used to work for just pennies a day from sunset till sunset. I remember our grandmother saying she worked 11 cents a day.
How did he feel about leaving his mom and his two sisters?
He felt so bad, but he was conscripted to go to the army or leave the army and to go to Canada.
Right.
And Auntie, his older sister, was in Canada already, so he came in and stayed. He was Canadian.
He said when he rode the train up to the port already to go, and he said goodbye to his sister and his mom, and he went on the ship already, and then he stayed on the ship for a while, and it shook a little bit, but he thought maybe he could go back yet and say goodbye to them. But when he looked out there, just the lights, the ship was gone. Couldn't say goodbye anymore. That was it. That was sad, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably, because he knew chances of going back would be pretty slim. Why did he leave the Ukraine and come to Canada?
Well, just, I guess it wasn't enough to work and live there. He just, since his sister came and said, oh, it's here already, you could get more land and that. So that's why apparently he followed them up, and he had a good chance to come because he had somebody here already. It was easier if he'd been gone himself.
Right.
Well, it was a sad situation. He said when they got on the ship, everybody's shaking out, bye-bye, goodbye, goodbye, and they were on the ship for 2 weeks, or put near 2 weeks.
Right.
They landed there in Halifax or whatever.
Came in to the St. Lawrence and got on the train in Canada and drove by train to westward through Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and all his friends and buddies were getting off until he got on to Mondaire, like close to Mondaire, and he was all alone. And he got off from Mondaire in the middle of the night. And he knew that the miller there that made the flour. So he walked over there and was visiting with him, and the miller told him, well, when it gets daylight, you can walk to your sister's house in Mondaire. She was married to Klamochko. And when it got to be daylight, he went out to walked out of town for a little ways, and all these gophers were standing at attention. And he was afraid of them. He didn't see them before, so he turned around and came back. He said, I'm afraid of them. They're ganging up on me like little soldiers. They're going to get me. So he waited until his sister and brother-in-law came and picked him up in Mondaire and drove him home by team.
When Dimitro actually, because he just came out here to this parcel of land that he got, he had the mare, right? And what else did he have, and how did he actually start building the homestead?
Well, he had his own axe and a grub hoe for a little garden,
right,
and built a little shack, and the horses tied up by the shack before he could build some kind of a shelter for the horses.
Right.
And then when he had these horses and wagon and sleigh, we used to freight from home here to Vegreville, hauling freight to St. Paul and back to Glendon, hauling freight all the time, all winter long.
Right.
That to make a living.
Right.
He had bought a walking plow. I think it's still at Jocelyn's place there from later on already from her uncle Metro Philip to like Mike and Doris's.
Right.
That for $20.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was plowing with 3 horses.
Right.
And then when he got married already, Mom was driving the horses and they'd get into arguments, he said, because she wasn't driving the horses good enough and the horses would go fast and, you know, there's roots and stumps and
Yeah.
and you're steering that plow. And,
Well, they got Mom and Dad got married in the St. Vincent Church because that was the only church available in 1920. It was Catholic, but I think by that time neither one of them were Catholic. But they got married in St. Vincent. They had they went there with team and wagon, I guess. And they had best man, I think, was Steve Kucherin, and the bridesmaid was Mary Drapaka. And they went and got married there, and they came back to Kusanowski House, and Bona had butchered a turkey, a big chicken, a big rooster. And they had trimmings and rooster, and that was their wedding feast.
Tell me about what family get-togethers would be like at Buna and Guido's or...
yeah, it would be a good gathering with like those pictures you seen snapped in the yard there.
Yeah.
After church, everybody would come there with, it used to be mostly with horses and wagons. And
Right.
it was a big celebration there, eating cabbage rolls and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask what were the main dishes when you guys would have a big...
Pierogies and cabbage rolls and chicken or turkey or
Right.
sometimes a goose.
Chicken.
Would they do
mostly-
like laneshnika, nachinka?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
Well, at first they didn't.
Yeah,
No.
they pretty well so after they did, yeah.
It was later that they
Yeah.
started.
later on that they
Yeah.
started doing those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Especially,
domestic,
yeah,
domestic
especially
Nachinka
like
was old
Guido Kissel's
recipe.
family,
Right.
everybody was pierogies mostly all the time. They specialized in,
Yeah.
you come to their place, all you'd be eating is pierogies all the time.
Probably not pierogies with cheese in them. They were probably pretty plain pierogies
That
or...
they used to make.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just potatoes and an onion.
Yeah.
It makes onion into the potatoes or cottage cheese because
Yeah.
Right.
everybody had.
And
Cottage
sometimes
cheese
they
and
just cube
cheese.
bacon up and fry and make it and would do it.
Yeah, sometimes
Right.
put bacon to your
Yeah.
potato. They're always potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know our dad, he liked them half potatoes and half cottage cheese
Oh,
mixed.
yeah.
And mother'd get mad. Who eats that? She'd get mad because it's more extra work, and you know there wasn't that much time with all the children and everything.
Yeah.
Then you have to get the cottage cheese and that and mix and that.
Yeah.
What were your chores on the farm? Do you remember?
Oh, I used to feed the chickens and haul wood to the house. Later on, I milked a cow. But when I was little, I didn't have to do very much. There was older brothers to do the work. So
Well, Ronnie, he was a spoiled brat, you know. Because he was the smallest, and he always
Yeah.
had this way. We taught him a lot of stupid things too, you know, which we shouldn't have. But he was the one that's willing to learn, and we should have known better too. But you know, a lot of
things.
stupid things with. Yeah, and then I remember about him. One time we had an old blacksmith shop, and Dad had bought a couple new wood chisels, you know, with them kind of silver, gold handles and that, you know,
Right.
porcelain or whatever.
Right.
And he took that, and he was going to work, so he to the animal with that and hitting with the hammer and shoot it off. Chisel. And Dad knew who done that, but we were eating. Dad came and said, "Who did that?" And Ronnie says, "I got no time to talk with you now." No time to talk. He's eating.
So, can you describe your mom to me? What was your mom like?
Well, she was a good mother and spanked us if we had it coming. And she made sure that our clothes was washed. And I remember that we all had mumps. My sister Mary and I and Anne. We had mumps and we were all laying in the bed. And Mom was looking after us and she was crying because she thought we were all going to die. We had all mumps.
Aw.
Like little gophers.
Like little gophers?
Yeah,
Yeah. Aw.
I remember that.
Were your mom and dad, were they affectionate type people? Like, would they be hugging and kissing and stuff, or were they not really affectionate type
Oh yeah,
people?
I see it.
Yeah? No, I don't know. I never met them, so I didn't know if they were like, you know, like I seen you and grandma kiss and stuff.
I've got country in my blood.